Steve Gabry. I'm the creator of Sallyface, and today I will be answering some fan questions. Okay, first up is, what was your inspiration for the game? A lot of the inspiration came from 90s cartoons like Hey Arnold, Rocko's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy, as well as experiences I've had in my own life. When I was younger, I struggled a lot with night terrors, and throughout my life I've struggled with depression. When I was a kid, I also had an experience that was paranormal and really led me to become fascinated with the subject. Is there anything in the game that's based off of your life? There's nothing that's directly based off of my life. Of course, I've had inspiration from experiences and people I've met along the way. I would say Sal and Larry have a lot of myself in them, and a good example is David is sort of an amalgamation of my life in Pittsburgh, and he was actually inspired by this dude I saw on the Greyhound once who was carrying a sex doll. What was my development process like? Well, I started with a 5-episode outline and some notes before I began development, and then as I approached each episode, I fleshed in that chunk of the outline, filling in most of the dialogue and the progression, kind of designing the early puzzles, and then, as I did that, I would sometimes doodle some concepts, although I really didn't do that much concept art for Sallyface. It kind of just followed intuition and drew, the first thing I drew is what's in the game for a lot of the stuff. And one of the other nice things about working alone is that I could kind of bounce between whatever I was feeling like doing that particular day. So if I wanted to write dialogue, I could write dialogue. If I wanted to play music, I could, or drawing or animating or putting things together in Unity. And then once everything's put together, you've got to do a lot of testing, make sure it's all working correctly, make sure it's making sense, getting rid of all the bugs, all that fun stuff. Do I have a favorite character from the game? Sal. That's probably the obvious answer. Larry, Ash, and Todd are also all special characters to me, but Sal I've poured the most into because I think he's the most interesting. And, outside of the main characters, I would have liked to explore David more. I think he's very interesting. What was the most challenging part of the design process overall? That's a good question. There were a lot of technical challenges along the way. As my first solo game, I'd probably say the most challenging part was actually designing episode 5, because my original outline and ideas for it were so massive that it would have been too big to accomplish. So right off the bat I had to cut a lot out of it. So that was sort of a difficult process because I had really wanted to explore all of these elements, but I think I did it in a way where I'm happy with, and I can kind of come back and still explore those elements in the future. Are there any secrets in the game that no one has found yet? Yes. There's at least one thing that I haven't seen anyone find. I'd be very surprised if anyone finds it. We'll just say that. What was the moral or message of the game? Tended not to really focus too much on that. For me, it was more about what feelings and experiences I wanted to convey, like an unraveling dream or layers of an afterlife. Of course, Sallyface has some messages in there too, of finding hope in the darkness and sort of seeing the world through the lens of love rather than judgment. But an overall moral, that wasn't really the message I wanted to convey. It was more about the journey. Is the Switch version coming to Canada? Will there be other languages? Yes, the Switch version is coming to Canada, hopefully soon. I'm working on getting French and Spanish translations added to the game. That does take some time. There are over 50,000 words in the game, so it's quite a big task. As soon as I have French version ready, the Canada version can launch for Switch. Will there be a physical version? There's no plans currently for a physical version of the game on console. Could be something I explore in the future, but right now it's digital only. Will Sallyface come to other platforms? Yes, a PlayStation and Xbox version are in the works. Since porting is a ton of work, I've actually enlisted the help of the Knights of Unity to work on this port. And my hope is that it will be out before the end of this year, but it's still very early to tell. And I'll update you guys as we hit major milestones on that. What's up with that art book you said you were working on? So I've had a lot on my plate over the past year, and putting it together, it took a while to put it together, and also searching for a publisher turns out to be a very slow process. I'm still hoping that I can get it out this year sometime, but until all the details are ironed out, I won't really know for sure. I'll continue to keep you guys updated as I know more. Will there ever be a Sallyface movie or TV show? So we've actually been pitching the idea for a Sallyface animated TV show to some studios. The most I can say right now is that there is definitely some interest, and it remains a hopeful maybe. Will there be a Sallyface 2? Yes, there will be a Sallyface 2. I've got a pretty extensive outline already for it that I'm very excited about, and I think you guys are gonna like it. That's about the extent of the project right now, though, so it's gonna be a while. I can tell you it's going to be a sequel, so it's gonna pick up pretty soon after the first game ended, and we're gonna follow the characters that we loved and meet some new characters along the way. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked this video. My next video is going to be a physical fan art showcase. So if you have something cool to send me, go ahead and send it to this address here. The Sallyface fans are filled with creative talent, so I thought it would be nice to have a video showcasing some of that.